Hi, my name is David P. Shapiro. I'm the owner and managing partner of the law office of David P. Shapiro, located in San Diego, California, where my firm helps good people regain control of their future when charged with a crime. And one way that we are able to help our clients is to really focus on what happens in a criminal case between the time of a guilty plea, if that's in our client's best interest, and the time of their sentencing. Now, there's primarily two types of level of cases, right? There's the misdemeanors and felonies. Misdemeanors are where your punishment cannot exceed 1 year in jail, so 1 year or less. Felonies, more than a year in custody. On misdemeanor sentencings, almost all misdemeanor sentencings are done simultaneously or soon thereafter an actual plea of guilty. So you may plead guilty at 9:30 in the morning, and by 9:40 you're sentenced to misdemeanor probation. On felony cases, though, it's a lot different in that in nearly all felony cases, if you plead guilty to a felony, your sentencing will not be right away. Your sentencing will likely be at least 20 court days from the date of your guilty plea. Usually that works out to around a month, give or take, at a bare minimum. Sometimes there's a reason why you put off sentencing a little bit longer. Sometimes that's part of the deal. Sometimes there's some strategy why you do that. But, just because hey, okay, I got a good deal, I pled guilty, it doesn't mean you put your guard down. It doesn't mean, there are not things to be gained and there are not things to be lost if you're still not focused, and if your attorney and your defense team is not prepared, and if they're not preparing you for what comes next. And what comes next after you enter a felony plea is, in all likelihood, an interview with probation. And that's a case whether or not you're going to state prison, whether or not it's a guarantee of no jail per the deal and you're going to get straight probation, or whether or not it's a wide open sentencing and you're really not sure what's going to happen. And what happens with that probation interview is probation gathers facts for the judge to assist them in making their decision on what an appropriate sentence is. Well, sometimes it really doesn't matter probation's recommended sentence, because you, your attorney, the district attorney, and the court have already agreed on a specific sentence. But sometimes a judge really heavily relies on probation's recommendation, as much so, if not more so, than what your defense attorney may be arguing, what the district attorney may be arguing. And the judge will do that because the probation's supposed to be, emphasis on supposed to be, sort of a neutral party in this, right? Not necessarily advocating for the prosecution, not necessarily advocating for the defense, but giving the judge information on what they believe an appropriate sentence is. And there's some strategy decisions that you really need to consider. One of which is are you going to talk to probation? Are you going to have that interview at all? Is your attorney or attorneys going to be present for that interview? Are you going to make a statement of remorse or acceptance of responsibility? Now, there are some times where you have to. There are other times where there's really nothing to gain. And all times you want to have as much control as possible over that. So what you say cannot be misconstrued, or maybe it just doesn't come out how you meant it, or maybe it does and it's probably not the message you want to deliver to the court. So there's all those things that you need to be considering, all those things that you and your defense attorney and the defense team should be, again, emphasis on should be, focusing on between the time of a guilty plea, if that's in your best interest, and the time of your felony sentencing. So we hope this video provided some info on what you should be keeping an eye on, what you should be doing, what your attorney should be doing, and if they're not, what you should be asking your attorney to be doing, which is primarily to prepare you for that probation interview. Because no matter what the options that a judge has when sentencing you, the probation process, the interview with a probation officer, could go a long way in enabling you to get the best possible outcome as part of that deal, and also set the tone for your time on probation, assuming you get probation and don't get sent to prison. A lot of that, the information in that document is a living and breathing document, meaning that it comes with you, it gets reviewed upon. In the event you were to, God forbid, violate probation, you're dealing with the original probation report. So you want to make sure you get that done right. You want to make sure you protect yourself, currently, and with your pending sentencing, and then with your future on probation, because that's a report that obviously will stick with you. So again, any questions about how to prepare effectively for a felony sentencing, you can always reach out to my firm, 619-295-3555.